One of the things that you guys tend to struggle with, or may have struggled with at some point, is the concept of maybe mockery that's intended to be funny, or humor in general, or British humor in particular, or just various types of humor, but specifically in writing. Now, a lot of times, obviously, if you see a comedian perform, it's a little bit easier to tell that it's a joke, mostly because everyone else laughs, and so you can kind of laugh along. So you can kind of tell when the joke is, or when the punchline is. But in reading, there's no laugh track. No one else is laughing behind you, and so you don't always know. And a lot of times what you'll see is, we'll tell you that a passage is supposed to be funny, and you will think to yourself, gosh, I did not think that passage was funny at all. Not even a teensy. And so where does that come from, right? Today, we live in a world where if you can't say anything nice, then you shouldn't say anything at all. That's sort of the golden rule. You hear that all the time. We come from that world. If you want to say something mean, you have to, either not say it at all or say it in private. You have to think it in your mind. And if you do ever say something mean out loud, you are this evil bully or some morally despicable subhuman person. And so you're really kind of cast out for having any thought that's even, borderline not within the rules of politeness and nicety that the society in which we live, sort of sets out. The problem is, though, on the flip side of that, most people think and say things a lot of times that are not nice, right? We complain about our bosses and our jobs. We complain about our schools and our teachers. We complain about, just all kinds of our friends. Adults complain about the post office or traffic. Maybe you haven't had to drive in traffic yet. Lucky you. We complain about the services that we receive from all sorts of people. We complain about other people, our friends, and things like that. There's just a lot of mean things that we kind of think, mean things that we say. We don't really think somebody's very smart. We don't really think that somebody's very funny or interesting. And, a lot of times what you end up doing is just sort of lying to their face, right? Oh, yeah, this person's so smart. Aren't they smart? Yep, cool. But, the goodness or badness of that sort of approach to life is up for debate, but that's a totally separate topic. The problem here is you need to be able to read these humorous passages, and you can't right now, because what you're used to is people either lying or saying something that sounds completely devoid of emotion. And so you just see good, things that are devoid of emotion. Although that's not really how it works, right? So when we think about mean things that people say, complaints that people have, there are two general types. There's the good-natured and the bad-natured kind. The goal of bad-natured meanness is to inflict harm on someone. So that's your actual bullying. That's what bullying really is, right? I hate you, you're ugly, you're stupid. You look at this person and their backpack is such an ugly color, of whatever you guys like to bully each other for, who knows, right? But this is very, very silly. But it's meant to be so mean, right? It's just really meant to be mean. You learn as you grow up that it's very trivial, but it is meant to be mean, and it hurts, right? If somebody says, I hate you, or you're stupid, that hurts. It doesn't feel good. But the goal of good-natured meanness is to make people laugh. And so this is very, very different. Sometimes people will laugh when a bully bullies someone, but that's not the same thing. The goal of the bully was to make someone feel bad, right? To make someone else feel bad. The goal of the bully isn't necessarily to make people laugh, but a good-natured person who is maybe saying something that is considered mean, quote unquote, by society, that's usually what we consider comedians, right? The goal is to make people laugh. It's a little bit of joking mockery. It's not meant to hurt anybody's feelings, right? It specifically should not hurt people's feelings, or it's not intended to, for sure. And so you've got comedians who go out there and they say these gritty things. Real humor is very often gritty. It's sometimes mean. A lot of times humor is making fun of people. Comedians usually make fun of themselves because that's easier. If you make fun of someone else, they can take offense, and you don't want to do that, so you make fun of yourself. But they still make fun of themselves for being black, or being white, or Asian, or Jewish, or a man, or a woman, or they make fun of themselves for being too young, or too old, or fat, or skinny, or ugly, or pretty, whatever it is. They're making fun of themselves, but in this category, and that category can kind of be applied to other things. So it's still kind of making fun of other people a little bit, but that's okay. We love it still because those comedians get to say things that we are not allowed to say. They say the things, they're not afraid to say the things that the world says you're not allowed to say this. And then we love that, right? We love that they break the rules. We love how brazen they are, and we also love it because, well, it's funny. And sometimes breaking those rules is really humorous, and sometimes maybe there's a little bit of truth in it. Maybe you've met one person that meets some stereotype, and it's just funny, right? Most of the time it's intended to be good-natured. It's not supposed to hurt anybody's feelings. They're often making fun of themselves. And so when you see this in these passages, right, and it's asking you about tone and attitude, you want to look at how does the author feel about these characters. Obviously, that's the idea of tone. But we're going to start to say, okay, does the author want to hurt this person's feelings, or does the author want us to really hate this character? Is this like a very vicious and mean sort of a thing? Or is it sort of like making fun of this person or this type of person in society? Maybe it's a general type of a person, right? Is it sort of making fun of them, but in a way that's designed to be a bit more lighthearted, right? We're not trying to make people go home and cry. We're not trying to make everybody super upset or start some culture war. It's just, sort of a comedic, maybe a little bit mean commentary on some particular aspect of someone's personality. So if somebody is super vain and they stare at themselves in the mirror all the time, maybe we're going to make fun of that. But it's not vicious. It's not like bullying. It's not the same thing. So that's what you're going to look for when you're looking at all these passages. We're going to do some practice now in this worksheet. See you on the other side.